Did you know, despite living in a world surrounded by education, many of our children are struggling to read? My family story time was reading fun time. We all nestled together, hands on our chin, legs crisscrossed, waiting for Daddy to tell us his adventurous stories about his life living in the jungles of Guyana, South America. Once he told me a story about the time he unexpectedly encountered a tiger. It was his favorite story to share and my favorite story to hear. I was shivering in my boots, my heart pounding out to my chest. I looked at the tiger, I stared him in the eye, and I said, "Somebody gonna die today, but it ain't gonna be me." It's okay, they both survived. And countless other stories were told in school, like the one about Mary Poppins floating with an umbrella, were stories that I enjoyed as empowerment. I was in the 3rd grade, and no one knew I had a secret. It wasn't just any secret. It was a secret that was really troubling me. No one noticed. Not my family, not my teachers, and not my friends. I didn't know how to read. You see, in school, we practiced what we called round-robin reading, where every student had one sentence to read from a paragraph. So at home, I memorized lots of stories. So in school, during center time, I memorized lots of stories. And my friends continued to feed me the words to the story. The issue became when it was time for me to say or tell what I read, I couldn't, because all I did was memorize words. I couldn't remember the words on the page, and I certainly didn't understand the story. And at such a young age, I couldn't ask for help. I was too ashamed. Children are to be seen, not heard. That was my truth. So at school, I practiced the same behavior. I asked no questions. And so disheartening, I just moved to the side. Over the course of 2 years, as my teacher gave me reading strategies, I practiced one after the other. I listened, I repeated. I listened, and I practiced. In center time, I continued to practice. During independent reading time, I continued to practice. And during partner reading, I continued to practice. At home, I read Bible stories, I memorized Bible verses, I read the World Book and the Childcraft encyclopedias. I know I'm dating myself. It's okay. But what happened, the transformation? By the 5th grade, I was a fluent reader. I found who I was as a reader. I found who I was as a person. I was no longer ashamed or embarrassed to ask or answer questions. Literacy became my reading game. I continued to repeat the strategies I learned. See, learning to read is not an individual's job, but it's the collective responsibility of the entire society. Many parents may rely solely on schools to help their children to learn how to read, but let me tell you this, learning never stops. Small segments can help your child in learning how to read. So let's think of reading as an assembly line. I teach your child reading strategies as they're in school. They practice those strategies, then they go home. They're now reading on the reading line. Small gestures of reading, 5 or 10 minutes, can make a huge impact on a child's ability to read. Have them read cereal boxes. Have them read comic books. Have them read ingredients on packages or food recipes when you cook with them. Make reading fun and engaging. The Adult Literacy Survey states that 70% of all incarcerated adults cannot read at a 4th grade level. That's alarming. Let's rewrite this narrative. Let's break the chains of illiteracy that cause us to help our children learn how to read. So I leave with you this thought. Let's ensure that we create readers and leaders of tomorrow. Let's infuse a love of learning where our children are excited. Let's try these 3 thoughts. Number 1, read to them and have them read to you. Number 2, read with them to practice fluent reading. And number 3, ask them questions about what they've read. Engage them in the conversation. I leave this with you. Let us transform our lives. Read daily. Literacy and empowerment awaits. Together, we can create literate readers in our world. Let's transform our children to ensure they are readers and thought leaders in our future.